I'm about to hand you a physical symptom using nothing but a sentence. And the annoying part is that knowing it's coming will not save you. Somewhere on your body right now, probably your scalp, maybe the back of your neck, there is an itch that wasn't there 4 seconds ago. Don't scratch it. And now you're yawning or fighting a yawn, which is honestly worse because that's your nervous system quietly negotiating with a stranger on the internet. That wasn't a party trick. That was the whole mechanism of this episode, running at about 2% volume through a screen from a guy you've never met. So here's the question that should genuinely bother you. If I can do that to your body with one sentence, what do you think 6 hours of a feed is doing? Because in July of 1518, in Strasbourg, one woman stepped into the street and started dancing. And within days, her neighbors were dancing with her. And the city's official medical response was to build them a stage and hire a band. These outbreaks used to need you physically nearby. That requirement kept getting looser, and then it got deleted entirely. And you're standing in the new room right now. And look, you already knew this on some level. You've just been filing it under vibes, instead of filing it under transmissible. One person walks into a room furious, says nothing, and 90 seconds later, everybody's shoulders are up around their ears. Somebody drops an ominous, "Can we talk later?" in the group chat, and 4 people have a stomachache. You've laughed at a joke you didn't hear, because the table laughed first. You've caught a yawn from a dog, an actual dog. Congratulations, you're permeable. Your mind is not sealed. It has vents, and other people are the weather. Which brings us right back to that woman standing in a street in 1518. July 14th, 1518. A woman the records call Frau Trophäa steps into a Strasbourg street and begins to dance. No music, no festival, no reason anyone could name. She's still going the next morning, and within days more than 30 neighbors are out there with her. And they didn't choose it, they didn't fake it. They watched somebody else's body do a thing, and their own body signed the paperwork. Now Strasbourg was not some village. It had physicians, a city council that kept minutes, actual process. So they convened and they issued a diagnosis. The diagnosis was hot blood. And the prescribed treatment for uncontrollable dancing was, sit and miss with me a second, more dancing. They cleared out the guild halls, hired professional musicians, and paid dancers to keep the sick ones moving. The official government response to a dancing plague was a publicly funded rave. And it went exactly as well as you're imagining. By August, chroniclers put the crowd at 50 to 400 people. Still going. Some accounts claim 15 deaths a day at the peak. But here's the honest version, because I'd rather be accurate than dramatic. Strasbourg's own records give no death count at all. It ran about 2 months. And the chronicles say it ended with the last of the afflicted marched up a mountainside to a shrine of Saint Vitus and given red shoes sprinkled with holy water. Thematically consistent after the rave. And for decades, the popular explanation was drugs. Ergot, a fungus that grows on damp rye, chemically related to LSD. Contaminated bread, citywide bad trip, case closed. Which is a fantastic theory with one small fatal problem. Actually, free. And the third one is the exact reason this episode is really about you. Ergot constricts blood flow to your extremities, numb limbs, sometimes gangrenous, which makes it the worst drug on earth for dancing 6 days straight. And drugs don't produce identical, coordinated behavior in hundreds of people. They produce hundreds of separate, very personal, bad times. And there were at least 7 of these outbreaks in the same region, clustering along a culture and a waterway, not along bad harvests. Contaminated rye follows the weather. So, the leading explanation now is stress-induced mass psychogenic illness. And the active ingredient wasn't a chemical, it was a belief. Everyone there knew, as settled fact, that Saint Vitus punished people by making them dance. And that's the thing worth stealing from this whole story. The belief is the infrastructure. Contagion travels on whatever a group already believes could happen to them. And it runs in 3 layers. Layer 1. Automatic mimicry. We copy the faces and postures around us in milliseconds, below awareness, until we feel the thing they belong to. You don't catch a mood by understanding it. You catch it by wearing it first. Layer 2 is yawning. The same machinery with the lights on. 40 to 60% of us catch one from seeing it, hearing it, or just reading the word. Layer 3 is where it stops being cute. Researchers showed people a documentary about the dangers of Wi-Fi, then exposed them to sham Wi-Fi with the transmitter off the entire time. And the ones who'd watched reported real, measurable symptoms. Nobody was lying. And it scales through networks, way past the people you actually know, which 1962 is about to make painfully concrete. January 30th, 1962, a girls' boarding school in Kashasha, near Lake Victoria, in what's now Tanzania. 3 students start laughing and cannot stop. And I know how that sounds. It sounds delightful. It was not delightful. The attacks came in waves bundled with crying, pain, fainting, and trouble breathing. And 95 of the school's 159 pupils were affected. The teachers, notably, were fine. It only hit the kids. So in March, the school did the responsible, obvious thing. It shut down and it sent everybody home to their villages. You already see it coming, don't you? Closing the school didn't contain the outbreak. It distributed it. Roughly 14 schools shut down, about 1,000 people affected, over 18 months. And here's the detail that actually matters. Every affected area was within 100 miles of Bukoba. The outbreak had a radius. It could only travel as far as a person could carry it. So, take that radius away and watch what happens. Starting around 2021, clinics across Germany, the UK, the US, and Australia began seeing a surge of young patients with abrupt onset, tick-like movements, and vocalizations. And to be extremely clear, because this is where people get it wrong, those symptoms are real. Psychogenic does not mean imaginary, and it absolutely does not mean faking. A German team looked at 32 of these patients and found their symptoms weren't tracking Tourette's. They were tracking one channel, a hugely popular creator who has Tourette's and who did nothing wrong here. And the tell was the vocabulary. Patients at different clinics were producing the same catchphrases from that one channel, down to the German word for French fries. The bodies were real. The words had a URL. Because no gene on Earth codes for that. Genetics doesn't do catchphrases. Trending audio does. Researchers called it mass social media-induced illness. For the first time, this thing was moving by screen, between people who'd never been in a room together. And in 2014, Facebook quietly tuned the emotional content of the feed for 689,000 people who had no idea it was happening, and their own posts moved to match. Just seeing a friend express a feeling was enough. But the savage part isn't the study. It's the boring, everyday design of the thing you're holding. A recommendation engine hunting for whatever provokes the strongest reaction in you specifically. Contagion has always needed a crowd and a strong emotion. A feed manufactures both, continuously, personalized, at 3 in the morning, with no closing time. In 1518, you had to physically walk into the square to catch it. Now, the square walks into your bed. Which is, I'll be honest, a slightly awkward thing for me to be saying, because this video is a contagion vector. I opened by putting an itch on your scalp and a yawn in your throat on purpose, to prove I could. You're not the audience for this episode. You're the next node. And whatever you do in the next 30 seconds is the transmission step. So let's make it a useful one, because there is a genuinely practical thing to take out of all this, and it is not delete everything and move to a cabin. The question that actually works is this. Did I have this feeling before I opened the app, or did I pick it up in there? A real one has a history. It was there yesterday, it was there in the shower. A cult one shows up fully formed about 90 seconds after exposure, already wearing somebody else's vocabulary. That's the tell. You're describing your own experience in a phrase you learned this week. And that's a test for moods and opinions, not just symptoms. Fears, ambitions, sudden certainty about a stranger, same machinery, all the way down. And here's the hopeful part. Because I'm not landing on everyone online is faking. That take is smug, and it's wrong. What most reliably ends these outbreaks is an accurate explanation from someone people actually believe. So, understanding the mechanism isn't armor. I opened this video proving that. But it does appear to be treatment. And nothing here is a diagnosis. If your body is doing something you don't understand, so, in the spirit of the entire episode, send this to one person. Literally, infect somebody. Ideally, the friend who catches every mood in the group chat and acts like they invented it. And subscribe, obviously, because the only defense we've established all episode is knowing how the thing works, which is, conveniently, the entire business model here. And before you get too smug about any of this, you are running the exact same hardware they were. Same wiring, same firmware. And no patch has ever been released. Neither am I, by the way. I made a whole video about how easily minds get overwritten, and I expect to catch something off my own comment section by Thursday. Your mind is not sealed. It has vents. Be a little bit choosy about the weather. Same brain next week.